And here I bees. It's Friday night. This is we on what day? What is today? 22nd. So we got 6 days to go to the end of Debruary. I tell you, I need to be patting myself all on my back because this was hard and I've almost made it. But welcome everybody to the show for Friday night. This was two live streams in a row. We have two more over the weekend. So I hope you're ready. Some good, really good topics that I think will have a good appeal to a great many women. Oh, wait a minute. Forgot something. Better get this ready. My famous LaCroix. Um, Tonight, I want to talk about, this whole month has been about trying to get inside your head and figure out where you are and why you're there. What the things are that motivate you, what things you may be doing that are shooting you in the foot, how you can improve yourself and your mate selection criteria. Have firmer boundaries. I mean, it's all about you becoming the best you that you can be. And then on the last show of this month, I'll be giving you some tips on how you can live your best life going forward, kind of wrapping things up and sending you on your way. What I wanted to talk about now, about a week or so ago, I addressed, thanks, Van. I love what you do for me to help me do that too. My moderators be on it. I'm telling you, I don't know where these people came from, but I'm happy they're here. But you guys, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or so, maybe it was, I think it was on a Saturday. I did a show about knowing your limits and your bottom line. You know, what it is you will and will not accept, what it is you're looking for, what kind of standards you have for the guys that you will decide to date. You know, you're meeting them, you got to screen them some kind of way. So that's how this was about your screening techniques. And if you have some that would, that are firm enough to eliminate certain people, what are they? And I was shocked at how many women just really don't have any. I mean, they have some basic things like, well, you know, he got to look like this and he got to, not be fat and, he needs to have a car, but a lot of people don't even have that. And, he needs to be having a job, but some women didn't even have that. So you guys were like all over the place. And I wanted you to, really think about that. I mean, if you let some broke joker into your life and he's all up in your house and then you end up taking care of this dude, I mean, what are you doing? How is what is the purpose of that? So that's for screening initially. You just meet the dude. What is it that he's gonna need to have in play before you go on date number two, three, four, five, and maybe look at having a relationship with him. Okay, that's what that show. This show is the next step of that. So, okay, he made the initial cut. So now you all dating, you kind of in a relationship, you living together, whatever. And or sometimes you even married. But since we primarily focus on signals, we'll just leave it at that. In this instance, what you start running into are problems. I mean, because for what first looked like a knight on a shiny white steed suddenly turns into like the under the bridge troll, and this is not working. Okay, this situation is harmful. This dude has turned out to be a knucklehead. You understand that relationship is not going nowhere positive, going around in circles before it goes down the drain. You know all these things. You shouldn't be taking the shit that you're taking from him. You should have higher standards with you. You know that you're sad, you're crying, you know all of these things, and yet you stay in a relationship. Why did you do that? What is it that's going on in your head that makes you want to stay in a situation where you're crying and angry and upset all the time? What is that all about? I mean, I've long had a theory that a lot of women are addicted to pain. It's a show I still intend to do at some point. I think I'd like to have a psychiatrist on or a psychologist or something on when I do it. But I can't help but think that because of all the observations over these years of women who not only stay in those situations, but in some instances seek them out. I mean, they know the guy's an idiot before they even get involved with him, but they do it anyway. So, and it's going to hurt. You're going to be crying, you're going to be upset. But I have a theory about that. We're going to talk about that. They always morph into a freak. Psh, Whatever they morph into, I just want them to do it somewhere else. Go do that over there. Or as they say, somewhere the hell over there. Just hit that fuck road and make a left turn. And that's, what I'd be looking for. I don't want that kind of stuff. So let's talk about, yeah, I mean, think about it, Atlanta Angel. I mean, what else could it be? I mean, people be addicted to food. They're addicted to exercise. The endorphins they get. The sex addiction, alcohol addiction, drug addiction. I mean, pill addiction. I mean, you know what I mean? People get like fixated on shopping addiction, plastic surgery addictions. I saw that on a talk show one day when I was at my cousin's house. We watch TV because I don't have TV here. And so I'm looking at this, and this woman had had like 100 plastic surgeries. She looked a hot mess, but you couldn't tell her that she was not gorgeous, and she's still looking for other things to do. That should be illegal. But that's what I mean. People get addicted to weird things. So once you start thinking about it from that way, they eat chalk. You know what I mean? People just are weird. And so if you have somebody who's got some kind, something ain't too right, they not the sharpest pencil in the box, and the elevator stops at the fifth floor, then it's very likely that they would get addicted to something that is painful. I mean, think about the people that are masochists. Isn't that pain? That's physical pain, though. But these are people who I think are addicted to emotional pain. And I think my theory is just as valid as anybody else's. Of course, I can't prove it. I'm not a researcher. But I mean, I'm looking, okay, but nothing I've read or seen has proven me wrong. That's how people come up with theories a lot of times, and then they research them. So I think I'm onto something. And like I said, in all these years, I haven't seen anything to prove me wrong. So let's go and let's talk about this. Let's see, I made my notes. I'm trying to be organized for Debruary. Then I'm going to go back to being my regular raggedy self after this is over. So you guys don't be getting used to this, me being this organized, because it's not going to stick around. Trust me. All right. So why would a woman stay in a relationship with a guy who puts her down, who hems her in, who repeatedly abandons her, who demeans and negates her, and perhaps even physically abuses her? Why? Why would a woman hold down two jobs to keep the rent paid and food on the table while her man sits around smoking weed and playing video games all day? Sometimes driving her car and dealing with other women while she's working two jobs. Why would a woman allow herself to be emotionally blackmailed by her boyfriend's threats that if she leaves him, he's going to kill himself? You would just be one dead, dusty motherfucker. Why, when you know that your man is cheating on you, you have facts, you have figures, you have proof, you have evidence, and he even got another woman pregnant, and he tells you this. Why do you believe that you can work that out? Why would a woman who is deeply disturbed by her man's obsession with porns or drugs or alcohol or gambling, anything which turns his attention away from her and their relationship, why would she stay with that man? Why would a woman stay with a man who burdens her with responsibility, all the housework, paying all the bills, taking care of the children pretty much by herself, having all these responsibilities and obligations? Even if he stays, he's one of them dudes that stays home all day playing video games and smoking weed. He don't do shit. And she don't make him do shit. Why do women stay with men they let move into their house? And the guy has a job. He's working or whatever, but he doesn't pay any bills. He doesn't contribute anything to the house, not on a regular basis. If he does, it's $50 here, $100 there. Well, he eats up that much food in 2 days. So what is he doing? And why is he living at your house rent free? And why are you letting that happen? Why would a woman stay with a man who can't hold down a job, or he won't even look for one? He ain't trying to work. And he treats you like his personal piggy bank, because every time you turn around, he got his hand stuck out. Gimme, gimme, gimme. I need, I want, can I hold? Baby, gimme. Why? Why would you do that? Why would a woman say, and I want to reiterate too, all of these things that I'm saying have come straight out of my advice column. None of these came from anywhere else. These are all pulled from advice letters that came into What the Fuck Tuesday or that were in the chat of the question and answer days. These are all things that people have asked within the last 6 or 8 months. Okay, so here's another one. Why would a woman stay with a man who has wrecked not only her car, but several rental cars that she got after that, which show total disregard for her financial and legal issues that he's, piling on her? Okay, what was that about? Why? Okay, he wrecked the first car. What was you thinking? What was you giving him keys to another car? And then another one after that. So he can wreck that one too? A trifecta of wrecked cars? One wasn't good enough for you? Why would a woman stay with a man who intentionally says and does things to humiliate and disrespect her? He degrades her dreams, her goals, her accomplishments. He grabs her boobs. He slaps her butt and he says foul things. Remember the other day? Dude's across the thing, wiggling his tongue at her and grabbing his stuff and all stuff. And he's doing it in front of other people. And yet she's still with him. So see, you see what I mean? I mean, these are all things that we have seen and heard about just within the past few weeks. So none of this is stuff that I had to make up out of my mind. I just reviewed, some of the letters. So if you wonder why this man who claims to love you treats you like this and why you accept it and stay with him, let's talk about this. We're going to get into some stuff. Yes, Kayleigh. I haven't seen that name in here before, but um, these are issues that were all presented in my advice column here on this channel within the last few months. All of them were pulled from letters, and I could have got a dozen more. Let's not even talk about the women whose men decided they are bi and want to, have boyfriends or used to have boyfriends and wait until they engaged and married to spring that news on them. Okay, I just all of a sudden I remember that, and they still there too, writing me letters talking about, what you, what should I do? And I'm thinking, girl, you should be sending me this letter saying, girl, I left that motherfucker and I'm in Barcelona, Spain, enjoying my life. That's what you should have been sending me instead of this confused letter talking about, that's my husband, weird, that's my fiance. It's like, your fiance like dudes. Okay, you don't have that equipment. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. So then I found this study. Let's see, let me find it. The study. And it said it was done at the University of Utah, Wayne State University, and the University of Toronto. They did, two components to it. And it said it was the first study to present evidence on how one partner's feelings and commitment can influence a decision to break up or not. And I highlighted this part. It says, we found out that the more dependent people believe their partner is on the relationship, the less likely they will be to initiate a breakup. Now, does this mean that they really are dependent? No, it does not. What it means is that when people are gaming on you, so this is like, this is just typical nigga street game right here. I'm gonna die. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be homeless. I'm gonna kill myself because this life's not worth living. How many times do they be saying some shit like that? And women get all confused and feel guilty and feel like, oh no, he really needs me. Or, do the best thing that ever happened to me, but, I'm so confused. I don't know what to do. I'm so sorry, baby. I never had anything like you. I'm sorry. I don't know. Okay, they be landing on thick. And the women be eating that shit up. But that is people who know this. They know this because of nigga street game, not because of a study done at at Wayne State University and the University of Toronto. So that's white people. Black people been knowing this shit. Any average nigga on the street knows this game. And so they gonna lay that shit on thick to make you feel like, they're so dependent on you that you can't leave them. I remember seeing this video one time. I see the craziest shit on Facebook. And they showed this couple, black couple. I think they were in a store or something, because I remember there was a security guard or somebody in the background. And this dude, little sagging pants dude, this girl was leaving him, and he was like hanging on her leg and all on the ground, crying and stuff, trying to crawl after her and hold his pants up at the same time, poor thing. And he was sobbing. I mean, you could tell this was not fake. I mean, dude's heart was just like broken. But what it reminded me of, like, he was living some abandonment issues. He was reliving something like his mother left him or something when he was a little kid, because that crying that he was doing was like a child. I mean, it was high. It was weird. I mean, it just I couldn't stop watching it though. I was fascinated, but it was really scary to watch. So when you had somebody who now that guy was dependent. I don't know what he did to why she want to break up with him, but just seeing his reaction, he was definitely dependent on her, and he was just about to die in the video. I mean, it was so unbelievable. People had filmed it. Dude was going all out. And so then the people admit later, they say, well, this suggestion that some women will remain in unsatisfying or even abusive relationships out of the fear that their partners will want them to stay is, what they surmise. And it says it also pointed out that the same women will be uh, lured by guilt that they are not as committed as they should be, and a little more effort and commitment will make things work. Make things work. I hate those three words strung together. They just need to die. Make things work. And we discovered that many unhappy partners make the choice to stay in the hope that their relationships will improve. So you see how it is. So that guilt and that feeling that somebody needs you is a very powerful thing if you're a kind of sympathetic person that worries about other people's feelings more than your own. And that's what I'm trying to get you all to stop doing. I'm trying to get you to stop doing that. Worry about yourself and stop worrying about other people. Because if he cared that much and he was that worried about you leaving him, the motherfucker wouldn't have clowned. Okay, then this wouldn't have come up. You wouldn't have been thinking about leaving him because he would have been treating you well. But the fact that he didn't, and you got tired of his shit, and now you ready to move on and do something else different with somebody else different. Now he want to cry like he's so needy and dependent. That's just a trick to keep you caught up. Don't fall for it. Do not do that. Well, these dudes, they just be doing the most. Oops, I accidentally closed my chat box out. Yeah, they just be doing too much. So let's go over some more of these things. Really, when you think about this, there's no real, it's not going to be easy to leave no matter what you do. It's never easy to, uh, you have feelings invested in that person. You have time and energy in that person. You might really, truly love that person, but if you love them here and you realize up here that that's a lost cause and that love that you have for them is, is too, it's just too much. It's not working out for you to love him that much and you're not getting it reciprocated in proper treatment. So let's go over some of these millions of reasons that I came up with of why women will stay in these relationships, accepting that bullshit that I was going over at the first top of the show. You think about if you fit any of these categories yourself. All right. One reason why women stay is because they're worried. And when you first got with somebody, you know how dudes do that, what I call the full court press, what they call it, the love bomb. You feel like you're his everything. You like the stars in his eyes. The sun rises and sets on your head. He calls you all the time. He's full of giving you attention. He just makes you feel really good and wanted and sexy and desirable and all this kind of stuff. And in spite of what's going on now, you keep thinking about that. You keep thinking about the past. And he will every so often throw you this little sardine of affection and stuff to take you right back there. And so, you stay stuck there, even though your reality 99% of the time is something completely different. And they use that against you. Another option is that these guys, they can be charming. It can be romantic. They make you, feel pretty good as a woman. Not as other stuff aside. They make you maybe sometimes, some women have never felt like that. They felt unattractive. Maybe they were kind of chunky or something, and they weren't the kind that, men really wanted that much, and they're not used to getting that kind of male attention. And so they meet a guy who comes in, like Mr. Romantic, and he just sweeps them off their feet. And he's not necessarily doing the full court press like the other guy that has you like, dizzy with passion and romance and all of that. But the guy is giving this woman something that she's never had before, something that she's always wanted. So even though it comes, it's like a double-edged sword, and she's getting cut and stuff just as much as she's getting soothed. She is so enjoying that feeling of finally being wanted and finally being feeling like she's sexy and finally feeling like somebody cares about her, that she doesn't really want to give that up. So she kind of weighs the odds. Okay, do I go back to this life of nothing and where no man really pays much attention to me, or do I just keep this and just hope that he starts treating me nice again? And so, that's how they do it. The D is good. I mean, everything is good, and then he just flashes, comes up with some fantastic just bullshit, and the women just stay and stay and stay. Then we get into the heavy stuff. Oh yeah, they do. They reel you in. But I say they go for the women who, aren't really that good looking. You know what I mean? You guys know I'm trying to be delicate here, but you know what I mean. Like the women who maybe are like a 6 on the 1 to 10 scale. They go for those. That they're not that cute. I mean, they might be really nice and smart and all loving and all of those kind of things. But when on the physical attraction scale, they're not that high. They go for those women because they know that those women are usually hungry for that kind of attention, and they're easier to hook into this kind of relationship. Okay, number whatever. Um, because you think that's how things are supposed to be. You may even think that's as good as it's gonna get. A lot of this is, there's no passion now. Maybe it was good at first, right? It was good at first, but at this point, there's no passion, there's no romance, there's no love. The sex has dropped off. Sometimes you can't find dude. I mean, things are different. They're different. You comment on how different they are, and inside that there's like flags, the red flags waving that this is nearing the end, but you don't want to accept it. And some women, it's really hard for them to accept it because when they're in a relationship and their hormones start pumping, it's like it coats their brain or something, and they can't really think right. They can't think right. They don't think straight. And they sit there and they keep thinking that things are gonna hope, wishing and hoping that something's gonna change, and you keep focusing on the good part, and you don't want to give up, because then that would have to mean that you were wrong about him, and that's really hard for you to swallow, especially if you've had friends and family telling you he was wrong. You trying to prove them wrong by staying in this relationship and giving it that one more good college try and hoping that he finally comes through so you can go to them and say, ha ha ha, I told you he was going to be good. That's what you're hoping for. Of course, it doesn't happen. It never happens that way, because you have low self-esteem and you really don't think you deserve any better. That's a big one too. You make his happiness, his peace of mind, his comfort, his ride, his stomach, his whatever it is. Everything is about him. You are put yourself second or third or even fifth on the list. If you have kids, you way down there. Some of you grew up in a family where you were told that you weren't any good. You was called fast, you was called ugly. They talked about your weight, they talked about your skin color. They said you were stupid, you were incompetent, you were clumsy. All these things, these negative labels. And that stuff stuck with you, so it affected your self-esteem and the way that you feel about yourself when you're going out interacting with men. So there's certain things like you don't feel like you really are the top of the heap. And sometimes the women look good. I mean, from the outside they look good. They may even be successful in their career, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your inner you and how you relate to men in a relationship. Those are two completely different things. So you have a lot of very success. We talked about them on the show. Women who are attorneys and go and find some prison bum and move him in and take care of him. So you see what I mean? It's like, it's not about what you do in a career or your educational level, how much money you make. It's not, that has nothing to do with it. We're talking about what you think about yourself in relation to men. That's what I'm talking about, and that's all I'm talking about. This is just kind of amazing. You may even had your parent or an older sibling or your first early boyfriend or something. Nobody's ever going to love you. You too blank, fill in the blank. Saving a brother, shit. Let me tell you how Deb don't save men. Okay, if we're on a boat and there's one life raft and there's a woman drowning and there's a man drowning, guess who I'm throwing the life raft to? It won't be the dick haver. That's just how I do things. No, you just you a man. You better know how to swim. You better roll. You know you supposed to be over there saving her. Why I got to save her? That's your job. You should be doing that. So I would be resentful because he's over there drowning. You know you need to be swimming and going to get the chick up out the water. You know. So women like that, who feel like you don't deserve any better, you feel they're the women who feel grateful for any kind of attention. Somebody tells you that you will never be loved, and then somebody pays you some attention, then they just so happy to have it they don't want to lose it. Also, something to consider is maybe you really don't know any better. And I'm not saying they know better because they read Steve Harvey book or anything like that. I'm saying on an inner level from their childhood, they've never seen any other kind of relationship except a negative one, and so they don't know that's even possible. If everybody around you, all your role models, everybody, your friends, all the women in your neighborhood, all dealing with nignogs and fools, and they all had the same kind of interactions with men, please explain to me where you would learn that there's something different out there that's available to you. Even on television, the relationships are dysfunctional and the men are evil. So, I mean, where is a young woman going to learn this if that's her reality? You see what I'm saying? So you got these young girls out here who, I mean, they grew up in a household where their mama was getting her ass kicked. Their brothers kicked their girlfriends' asses. Their friends, husbands, and boyfriends kick their asses. And even if they don't do it with their fists, they do it with words. Oh, you ain't shit anyway, bitch. What the fuck are you doing? This is nasty. They take a food you spent 2 hours cooking and throw it on the floor and stuff like that. Just degrading and demeaning you, at parties and stuff. Just doing stuff just to intentionally make you feel small and humiliated and like you're nothing. So that really is worst. I mean, even somebody hitting you is bad. Trust me, that's not good. But what I'm saying is the acceptance of the verbal and emotional abuse is so common that people think that's like a normal way to communicate with women. You see the little boys. I mean, if you correct them, they look confused. Because like, well, what's wrong? Why are you saying I shouldn't talk to her like that? And that's how you know. That's what they see. So if you got a little boy doing that, what do you think the little girl who grew up in that same environment is gonna do? You see what I'm saying? This is kind of a troublesome situation. And then sometimes women stay in a relationship because they're scared to leave. They're afraid. The fear might not necessarily be because of him. It might be because they won't have any money. They don't know, they don't have enough. They only have a part-time job. He threatens to take the kids from them that they had together. Um, I don't know. Maybe he's got some naked video of them he's gonna put online or something. I mean, dudes threaten women with all kind of stuff to try to get them to stay. So it's not always that the woman can't let go. Not that she doesn't want to let go. Sometimes she can't for some other, extenuating circumstance. So these guys basically manipulate you into staying with them. Other women, and I'm not getting, I don't know what the numbers are on these. I just wrote them down and I didn't use the numbering feature. So they're just paragraphs on the page. So somebody, I don't know what number it is. But some women really believe that, they can change the man. Like they get with him, they know he's a dusty bum. We talked about this the other day. He's dusty all the way or he's half dusty and they believe they can clean the rest of that dust off of him and make him into a real boy, like he's Pinocchio or some shit. And you just think that all you have to do is find the right words, the right clothes, the right thing to tell him to motivate him to be the best man that he can be, and all of this. And then you kind of shocked and surprised when it doesn't happen. You convince yourself that he's an exception, that he can. If he was just willing to work on it a little harder, he could become that man that you dream that he can be. So you stay and you stay and you stay and you stay and you devote months and years and sometimes decades of your life trying to build this man and create, this little build a bugaboo and trying to create him into something that he's not. He'll never be a bear. He's just gonna stay a bugaboo. So I don't know. I'm trying to say this was kind of interesting. When you start thinking about it and looking at some of the letters that came in and what was the motivation behind those women's decision, it's kind of scary. Another one is because you are more afraid of being alone than you are of being in a relationship that hurts you. These women tend to place an extremely high value on being in a relationship. You live in terror of your friends and family saying to you, "What? You broke up again? You can't keep a man. You don't know how to get a man. You don't know how to treat a man. That's why your men always leave you, or you always pick some ain't shit men. You don't know what you're doing." They don't want to hear that. And can you blame them? I mean, who wants to be talked about like that? But rather than do that, they keep their pain inside at home and they just deal with this knucklehead man and put on a strong, brave face every time they be around these people who they want to try to impress with their, fact that they have this relationship. Don't matter that the relationship is with an asshole. They don't care about that. Well, I think they probably do, but I mean, that's not the top priority. The top priority is presenting themselves as being a woman who has been validated by a man within a relationship. You know, so you do stuff like, you're gonna do all his laundry, you're gonna pay all the bills, you're gonna cook, you're gonna clean. He's gonna be out doing his thing, but you don't talk about that and you just swallow and take it. You just want to stay in the relationship no matter what. All right. Others say, well, it's because I love him though. I love him. I'm like, what is it that you love so much, really? I mean, somebody's treating you like shit and you claim that you love them. I don't understand that. That's the most common response. Like women will tell you a whole string of things that the guys, he ain't shit. He don't do this. He's raggedy about that. He have work. He don't do nothing around the house. He don't know 900 things, right, that they list off that he's bad. And then they always end with, but I love him though. That's their reason for not wanting to leave because I love him though. I'm like, why don't you love yourself? Why don't you love yourself more than you love him? How you gonna have a man with 900 fucked up things about him? And he got one or two things that's good, and you just want to focus on them one or two things like that overwhelms all the other negative stuff about him. I don't know. Especially when you can see that the love is one-sided. You know what I mean? She's loving him and nothing he's doing is demonstrating love for her. He talks to her crazy. He treats her like shit. He be out with other women. Sometimes they be so bold they even bring the other woman in around you, talking about it's my cousin, it's my friend, and with this smirk on their face. Because they know that you know, but they know that you're not gonna do nothing about it either. Because they know they got your number. And so the women just take it. I'm telling you, I don't just thinking about all this dust is making me itch. It's just ridiculous. Well, yeah. Yeah, these women do. I be going in on them too, Van. So we be like the dynamic duo. I'm like, shit. I mean, well, you could count the women who are in relationships where the man is treating them right and they're happy and stuff on pretty much two hands. Everybody else got bullshit and drama going on. Exactly. They say I love you, but their behavior is saying something completely different. So, they go by the words. They go by the words, and that those words mean a lot to them. Another one is because you learn how to be, you basically are satisfied with some miserable ass relationship. This is kind of reflective again of, you adopt the behavior patterns of the people around you. You accept what was modeled for you as the norm. So, but this is more of a personal thing because if you just think about it, if you don't feel good about yourself, right, you don't feel deserving. However this happened, whether it was because of what you saw outside, people calling you names, I mean, this was what was modeled for you. However it happened, the end result is now you're an adult and you feel like you don't deserve anything better. anything more stellar, anything more fantabulous than what you got right now. This man who half steps, he ain't about shit, he don't do shit, and you have somehow wrapped your mind around it and made it okay. It's okay. This is good enough. That kind of thing. This is good enough. I'm not going to ask for more. I'm not going to demand anything from him. I'll just deal with this. This will be all right. And these psychologists coined this phrase I thought was really fabulous. They called it well, anyway, it says those who perceive themselves to be less attractive have low, quote, comparison levels. Your comparison level can be thought of as your standards or what you expect to receive from a relationship. Individuals with low comparison levels do not expect many benefits from their relationships, but they do expect many difficulties. If you have a low comparison level, you may maintain a bad relationship because your low expectations are being met. Have you ever heard of anything put so clearly and so, I mean, just mind-bogglingly sad? You have low expectations of men and you find a relationship with a knucklehead that's going to meet those low expectations, and so you feel that's good. That's okay. This is acceptable. I read that about 10 times and I just could not get over this shit. And these are some they this was studies done in 86 and 2017 and 2008. This kind of, combined uh research to come to that conclusion. And I thought, wow, this is really sad. We got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do. I think how many years I've been doing this and there's still a lot of work to do. Another one that I thought of, we call these, when women come in, cape, we call it caping, right? Now, some people use it different. They feel like, you're caping if you're trying to defend some dusty from like a crime or whatever. That's not the kind of caping I mean. I mean, like you put your Supergirl suit on and you fly in and swoop them up and you going to save a nigga. I used to call that where E40 had that song Captain Save a Ho. Well, in this case, Supergirl save a bum, and you come flying in, and you get the dudes who are like homeless, worthless, toothless, jobless, senseless. I mean, just make you itch looking at them. And then you figure that you can fix them up. You can, give them a home and feed them and get them off the drugs and get them off the booze and make him be something magical. You want to feel like, he needs you, and that makes you feel loved or something. I don't know. I don't want no man to be needing me like that. That's too much burden. That's like a child. I just can't do it. Another reason, and these are just some standard ones, the standard issue, low self esteem. Um, you can see that you're in a relationship that makes you miserable. You know it's time to leave for your mental health, but you feel like if you speak up and say anything, that you're going to get rejected, that it's going to be, a horrible situation, that you'll be attacked. And so you would rather not say anything and just take the bullshit than speak up for yourself and demand better treatment or leave the relationship. So you don't say anything. Because, that, I mean, until you communicate with this guy that what he's doing is not acceptable, how's he supposed to know? But see, a woman with low self-esteem won't ever do that. She'll just take it and take it, take. She'll never say a word. She won't complain. She won't do anything. She just deal with whatever he gives her that comes down the pike. At least other women will say, I don't like this. You need to stop doing this and that. And the dude just won't do it. But at least they did ask. The woman with the low self-esteem, right off the gate, she won't even ask. She's not even gonna try to assert herself in any way, shape, or form. So that gets really itchy, really itchy touchy. How about this people that have a fear of loneliness? You can't stand the thought of being by yourself. The thought of being single and by yourself. Forget all the people talking about you and all that stuff. I said before, that's a different component. I'm talking about when you, maybe somebody, you don't have people in your life that's going to rib you about you can't get a man, you can't keep a man. See, that's separate. I'm talking about how you feel. You're going to feel lonely. You're going to feel like, oh no, I'm like they say on the M whatever letter videos. I'm going to be, a woman with a whole bunch of cats. I want to be by myself. What am I going to do? And so, that fills you with terror because you are not comfortable with yourself. You don't know who you are or what you are unless it's juxtaposed off of a man in a relationship. You're just an empty shell. Don't you know women like that? Their man is their whole life. Their man and their kids and maybe church. They don't really have shit going on. They don't do nothing. Watch TV, cook, go to church, go to work, deal with their kids, and deal with their nigga. That's it. Nothing else about them is exciting. Boring as fuck. And they get, when you have a woman like that, um, yeah, I would imagine she would be afraid of being alone because then one of her, key entertainment vehicles is going to go away. Speaking of entertainment vehicles, another reason that women like these kind of crazy relationships is because they messy. They messy and they're full of drama. If you the type of woman I just talked about and you don't have shit going on in your life, you're gonna be looking for some. I mean, the human beings need some kind of excitement from somehow, from somewhere. So I mean, some people, they want to they go to competitive sports or they just have some kind of creative outlet that brings them joy and excitement and gets their heart racing and stuff, or they belong to a gym, or people do stuff, they play tennis, they go backpacking, they have interests and hobbies and passions that are outside of a relationship. Not these women. Ooh, these are some boring ass women. Oh my God. Nothing about them makes you. I mean, just think about a dude being in the house with somebody like that all day, every day. I would lose my fucking mind. She don't have shit to talk about except some, shit, Khloe Kardashian and Tristan shit. And, that kind of stuff. All the time. Bullshit. And, as a dude, I mean, that's not really going to be too exciting. So these women they like to have that kind of drama. Is fussing and fighting and throwing shit, and she driving around in her car looking for the nigga, and bitches calling her house, and it's just all this shit's always stirred up. Oh, they love it. They love it. They just feel dead inside unless they have that kind of stuff going on. So you got a woman like that, she not gonna want to let that go because that's her only source of, feeling something. She's like half dead inside. A lot of women who are like that suffered childhood sexual abuse, and that's the truth. So they're part of them is just dead inside, and in order to feel alive, they get into these really dramatic, kinds of relationships. Um, about the women who are indecisive? I mean, they know they should leave, and on some level, they want to, but then maybe I just haven't tried hard enough. Maybe, I'm just not using the right approach. Maybe I need to learn some new sex tricks. Let me go buy this new Cosmo. Let me hit Vicky's Secrets. Let me see if that trick works. And it's not that they're afraid, they're just so indecisive about, is it really time to go? Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe run it by some of my friends. Let me write to Deb on the advice column. Let me see if what I'm thinking is right because maybe I'm wrong. You see what I mean? They're indecisive and they doubt themselves. They don't. They're second guessing themselves. They don't trust themselves. Is the bottom line. So they're looking for someone else to help them make the decision and to make it for them. The danger with that, though, is that if say they have people, pushing them to leave this person, and they're not ready to do it yet because they're still on that indecisive thing, but they do it because they want to please you, then they're gonna always resent you because you made me break up with them. I could have tried harder. It might have worked if I just did one more super slurpy trick with my tongue. It's always going to be somebody else's fault. So that's why I stay out of those situations. And I don't. you can see she's like she's not really sure that that's what she want to do, then I just leave them alone. I just leave them alone. I just, you give them suggestions for what they can do to cover the things that they claim are the problems, and they start coming up with, yeah, but then you know she's not really ready. So then you just leave her alone. Let's leave her alone. And let me see what else I got. How about the women who stay for their kids? At least that's their excuse. They want to stay for the children. They say, well, sometimes it's best to stay for the kids. I want my kids to have their father. But they see their father mistreating their mother. I mean, what kind of role model is that you have here, young woman? What are your kids seeing? Why do you want them to have that? You know what I mean? Plus, it's not like he died or something. I mean, he's in prison. You can still, I mean, he can get visitation. He can see him all the time. You just won't be living together and it won't be your husband. But that doesn't mean that the relationship with the children, he's going to sever his relationship with the children because he severs it with you. Okay? Two completely different things. So you trying to put yourself on the same level as his flesh and blood. No, you're doing too much. That's not the story. That's not the ticket. Um, and you got to also consider the fact that sometimes, when you're getting verbally assaulted and abused and demeaned and degraded, that spills over to the children. He doesn't stop there. He's like, yeah, yo, dumbass mama, you dumb like your mama. You see what I mean? So it spills over to the children anyway. So you put them in this situation thinking, well, I'm going to stay here with him and I'm don't want to leave because it's going to keep them away from their father, and kids already need their daddy, blah blah blah, and so you make that as your priority to stay there and suffer, and make them suffer with somebody who's treating them that way. It's really sad. In other situations, the abuse has been normalized. Every relationship that you've ever had has some level of abuse in it. You just, accept it. You don't even fight back about it. He just tells you, oh, you just fat and nasty. Yeah, you right. Okay. You don't, bust his ass upside the head with something. It's like, I might be fat, but now you got a fat lip. So we matching. Good for us. What a loving couple. We should get matching outfits. Um, it's so familiar to you if you grew up in an environment like that. It's something that you're just comfortable with it. It doesn't even phase you. I've been in situations with people, with women, and their man was talking to them all kinds of crazy, and I could feel myself bristling. Like, why doesn't she speak up? And she just has this like blank look on her face. And some of them might do something, they might get like a nervous habit. They start wiggling their leg, they moving their leg, or they scratching, they're doing itching. So, I mean, there's something going on. She's biting her nails. I mean, there's something that's going to indicate that she's stressed about what's going on, but she doesn't speak up, and because it's just the way that it is. She deals with jealousy like that, possessiveness, violence, verbal and emotional abuse is all treated like, well, that's no big deal. Well, what you talking about? So she chooses to say because that's okay with her. And then, I didn't even really talk too much about the women who say they do break away, or the dude breaks away from them, they still can't let go because they stay too focused on what he's doing, who's on his Facebook page, where he's going, who he's with. He got her pregnant, and this and that, and we only been broke up for 3 months, and he already living with somebody, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, how do you know all this? And like, why do you know all this, and why do you care enough to write me and ask me about it? I don't give a fuck. You shouldn't either. It's like, you two are broken up. You need to understand what that means. It's time for you to move on with your life. But these women practically turn into stalkers. you know it's really interesting. It takes a lot of courage and strength and conviction to move on for something. You got to believe that there's something better for you and it's going to be greater later. If you don't think that, if you don't think you're good enough, you don't think this is the best you could do, you make all these excuses about I'm staying because of my kids, because my family, because I committed under God, I took my vows, none of that works when you're doing it by yourself. It's a one-sided relationship. It doesn't work that way. It never will work that way. You can stay with that fool for 100 years, and he's still gonna be clowning and acting the same fool he's acting now. May even escalate because he sees that you will take it. Unbelievable. Another reason why people stay, and this is a big one. You think that he's going to change. You think that he's going to change. Um, you believe that, just give it enough time, that something magical is going to happen, that he'll stop cheating, he'll get it all out of his system, that he'll get tired, he'll just want to be a family man at some point. And so you're just going to wait for that to happen. You're just going to wait and wait and wait. And then before you know it, you'll be 65 and he'll be 72 with a broken dick and looking stupid and on heart medication. And then finally he gonna decide that it's time for him to just look at you. And by then you have wasted your whole life, all your youth, all your beauty gone, waiting for a dusty to pick you. I don't know. I don't understand it. Well, out here in California, the weather was really nice, so I don't know. How people were gonna feel about being inside at a chat tonight. Um, I'm still going to be here tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday as I planned. But I thought this was an important topic for us to address. I don't necessarily have all the answers, and of course, I don't have all the different variations on the theme for why a woman would choose to stay in a relationship like this. These are just some of the ideas that came to mind, some of the things that are obvious from some of the advice letters that come in, the way that women think, feel. I mean, they've expressed these kinds of attitudes, so I just want to put them out there so you guys can kind of think about yourselves in some relationships that you've been in that you struggled with letting go. A man that you struggled with letting go. You knew he was a knucklehead and a dusty ass fool, just a bum, and you knew this, and yet you stayed in the relationship anyway. And so you have to ask yourself, okay, why did I do that to myself? What was I thinking? What's wrong with me? I deserve better than that. I was tripping hard. And then, you got to start doing something about it. Exactly. Somebody said you got to change his diapers and he falling apart. Exactly. And that's when they decide that they love you and they should have wised up earlier and all that old shit. They start singing that old song. It's like, shit, change your own diaper. I had nothing to do with that. You lived that kind of lifestyle hard and fast and wore your body out. And now you looking at me, something me to give up mine to take care of you. No. You're right, Miss Full Roller. Is that everybody's? I mean, some people have like super dysfunction, but every family has some level of it. But some people, it's just so ridiculous. It's just like, okay, y'all need to just all go to opposite parts of the world and forget you ever met. It's that bad. But I still kind of look at people. They talk about this nuclear family thing, and I truly wonder if that really is the best way to do things. I don't know. I haven't come to a conclusion yet. But I'm going to think about it at some point when I have time when I'm thinking about something else because that's been pushed on us so much, so that's like the ideal, the mom and the dad and the 2.5 children and the white picket fence and the dog. I mean, how many we don't leave it to Beaver Days? That's what was presented to us as at the best kind of model for family. Is it really? I mean, where is it really working for people? Maybe it works for people in the 40s and 50s, but there seems to be some lot of struggles working with that concept now. Maybe we need to think of something else. Personally, I am a fan of communal living. I like it when women live with children, with their kids, and the women share the housework and the child care, the cooking, the cleaning, you know what I mean? The kids have multiple people that they can go to if they have a problem that they trust and that are going to be there to protect them. I mean, to me, and plus it reduces the women's household expenses. The kids have somebody to play with all the time. They're not lonely and, being by themselves. So, I mean, I see a lot of benefits in that, and it's a certain element more of safety there as well for the young children. As long as those women agree, you don't be bringing no men up in this house. The kids are safer. So that's my own, thought about that. I'm just really wondering, um, is it not time to re-examine this whole concept of what is a quote good relationship and the model family and stuff? I mean, our society has changed so much. Isn't it time for us to make some adjustments to keep up with it? We're not those people anymore. Our culture's not that culture anymore. Our environment's not that environment anymore. So, at something you try to hold on to the past and try to fit it into the future, there's going to be some problems. So, in other words, in closing, yeah, I like the idea of communal community too, and we're going to talk about that at one point. Somebody sent me a link to some tribes. Well, I don't want to call them tribes, groups of women that are doing that on the continent of Africa, and they have some all women villages. And when the male children get a certain age, they get the boot out. And these women are like warriors. They ain't taking no shit. They will kill your ass. You try to come in there with some bullshit. So, that sounded real interesting. It's like that's the only thing I've ever wanted to go to Africa to see. I have just no interest in going there ever at all. But I would like to personally see that. That would talk to them women and get a feel for that kind of environment, how it came to be and why and stuff, what they went through. I would love to do some shit like that and then, put it on my channel. But I don't know. I think about this kind of stuff, off and on. It's like, what's really going to be the best for children as we move forward? But anyway, let's talk about closing this show out and resolving this mess with y'all and having these wild and crazy relationships. Y'all got to do better. Okay, you got to really care about yourself. I mean, I keep saying this over and over. Love yourself, care for yourself, make yourself a priority. And it's like women you all just really struggle with that. It's just amazing to me. It's like this guilt, like I can't do that. That's gonna make me a bad person. I'm gonna be selfish. I'm a terrible mother if I do that. My children should come first. I mean, your children's needs have to come first, definitely. You want to protect your babies. You want to make sure they're educated, that they have clothes and food, and that they're warm and medical care and stuff like that. I am not saying neglect your children at all. But once you get to that point and you start getting, they're all satisfied and happy. Okay, now it's time for you to do something for yourself. Why do so many of you not take that time to do something for yourself and instead turn around and do more for your kids? That's what I'm saying. Let them play by themselves. They can watch TV for an hour or two while you go in another room and read a book. I mean, these are kids 7, 8, 10, 12 years old. They can stay in there and by themselves for a couple of hours. Nothing's going to happen. I would not recommend leaving a 1 or 2 year old by themselves, but you can hold them in their lap or put them there while they take a nap, and you sit there and you read a book. Okay, carve out time for yourself. You don't have to be doing something for the family every fucking second. Do something for you that just makes you happy and brings you peace and joy. I mean, anything, well, whatever you want to do. And I think it's important to point out that, endings are always sad when you think about it, right? Endings are sad. When you watch the end of a movie and it was really good and you was into it, don't you feel a little let down? You read a good book and it's like engrossing. It's a page turner. You stayed up half the night reading this, boy. You on the bus reading it on your way to work. You at lunch reading it. You sneaking peeks on your breaks and all this stuff, right? This shit was good. And then you get to that last page and you close the book. Don't you feel a sense of disappointment? Like, some people just start reading it all over again because they just can't let it go. Don't you feel like, when you get that last bowl of gumbo, that last slice of pizza, that last bottle of wine, the glass of wine and the bottle's empty, don't you have that same feeling like, oh, it's over now? So why do you think that you wouldn't have that in a relationship? This is part of life. This is part of closure. This is what happens, okay? You do shit, you start shit, you be in the middle of shit, and then the shit ends. That's just the reality of the way that things go. You know what I mean? So people, have to kind of put that into perspective. Just because you had hopes for a relationship lasting happily ever after and some, I mean, at some point it's gonna end. One of you, even if it's one of you dying, it's still going to end for some reason at some point. Just learn to accept it. It's like, this thing of acceptance and submission to reality. Okay, and I don't mean that submission to that biblical submission. I mean like just acceptance for this is what it is, and I need to just roll with it and stop fighting it so hard. I can't change it. It is what it is. And, why not think that if you just roll with stuff. Just think about, the sex you give him, the love you give him, how much you cook for him, the babies that you have for him that he claimed he wanted, not really, the money you spend on him, whatever it is that you gonna be doing for these dudes. Um, that why? That's not ever going to be enough. He's going to always be dissatisfied because he's not happy with you. And a man who's happy with you doesn't need all of that other stuff. He don't need you to do all that for him to try to earn his love. He just looking at you makes him feel happy. And he's satisfied with just that. And it's sad how many women have never experienced a man who really, is adores them like that. He just can't get enough of just looking at you. He want to hold your hand. It's like they all touching your little face and your hair, and I mean they just adore you. And they're not looking for you to earn their love and do all them things and jump through hoops and stuff and take abuse from him. He would die rather than treat you crazy. So that's the kind of stuff that you deserve. But in like I could talk about it all day. But until you believe it yourself and you stop accepting anything less, don't give anybody who talks to you crazy not even another second of your life. He talks you crazy. He tries to put down your dreams. He calls you a name. He does anything. That's the end of it. You don't make excuses for that. It's just going to escalate because that was a test to see what you would let him get away with. They put down my dream. I dumped a guy at a restaurant when I showed him my book I was working on. Well, I don't know nobody who goes to church and does, acts like that and this and that. And the way he said it, like I made it up. I interviewed people for this book, right? This was their stories about how they got treated in church. So essentially, what he was doing was denying their reality because he didn't personally know anybody that happened to, and denying the reality that I did my work and research like I said I did, and just like putting down the whole book because he didn't personally know anybody. Like, I lost my mind, you ghetto trifling piece of shit, ghetto motherfucker. Just because you don't know nobody like that, them jailbird fucking ass welfare recipient people that you, I lost my mind. I just went in like there was no tomorrow. Cussed that motherfucker out. Every all the white people in the restaurant. I acted a complete fool. And this is a restaurant in Oakland, and I'm not going back because they might recognize me. And I cussed that motherfucker out like there was no tomorrow. Told him, I talked about his uncle and all the people on his family on welfare and all that shit, baby making bitches. I went crazy. And then I got my shit and I walked out the door and I never talked to that nigga again. You not gonna fuck with my dreams. You not gonna try to hurt my feelings. You not gonna try to discount what I do. And anything near and dear to my heart, motherfucker, you better respect it and admire it, even if you lying to me. Don't you ever say no shit like that to me. I cussed him out. And that was that. So here, unless he think twice before he does any shit like that again. He just sat there like this because I just went from like quietly flipping pages to this like to 100. Just like people say flash, that's what happened. I told you I have a terrible temper. Terrible. Terrible. So, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about, though. You have to feel inside of you that nobody should treat you like that. Nobody should talk to you like that. Nobody has the right to shit on your dreams and to try to make you question or doubt yourself or feel in any way negative about what you do or who you are, what you stand for. You got to tell them, get the fuck out of my life. And you guys, this whole show that we went through, these are women who haven't done that. And you keep, not only do you not do it, you keep these men around and you reward them with your presence, with your cooking, with your body, with children, with your time, with your energy, and they treat you like shit, and you're giving them the benefits that you should be giving a man who honors and respects you. See, this is bad parenting. If these are like kids and parents do treat kids like this and reward them for the bullshit that they do, that's bad parenting. And when you are an adult woman and you're in a relationship with a man and you do this kind of stuff, that's bad relationshiping. You know what I'm saying? This is just crazy. I don't know. I just like, I'm trying to empathize. I had a conversation with a friend of mine today, and we were talking about the show and everything, and she was like, well, as a matter of fact, let me thank her. Thank you, Inyasha. She's kind of turning out to be my production assistant. It's so cute. She's learning how to do all this, and she's doing a good job so far. But we were talking about this today, and she said from her perspective, she thought that when people kind of empathize with other people, they like kind of get on their page and understand where they were coming from, that it makes it easier to not be hurt about it, because you put yourself in their position. And I would never say that somebody, I mean, if that works for you or if that works for her, whatever, I'm never going to say don't do that. I mean, people got to find their own way. I mean, some people going to take the straight path. Some people going to go underground and through the caves and underwater. I mean, people are going to get to where they need to be a different path than the one that I might take. My thing is just to tell you this is the destination. Now, how you get there, that's going to be up to you. I personally have no empathy for people who choose to make stupid choices over and over and over again, like a drug addict. Nobody forced them to do that. They chose to do that. And so when you choose something, you have to be a grown up and suffer any and all repercussions associated with that choice. I did not choose to do drugs, so I'm not going to suffer with you on your drug trips, and neither am I going to feel empathetic, because as soon as you feel like I have empathy for you, then the bullshit's going to start. You start appealing to my sense of whatever, and you're going to want me to be, co-signing and being codependent on that bullshit, and I'm not going to do that. So you chose that path, you walk that path, and I'll see you when you get to the end of the destination. I might still be there waiting for you, but chances are I'll be on to somewhere else. So you got to do things, you got to look forward to what's coming. When you close something ends, right? You finish reading that book, now you get to read another one, right? Well, you saw the end of that movie, now you can watch a different one. Maybe that was action thriller. Now you want to see a romantic movie, a romantic comedy or something. I mean, there's so many choices for things that you have to look. It's all in how you look at it. As they say, one door closes, another one opens. And once that door opens, just like when you open the door at your house, that stale air leaves and in comes fresh, clear air. You can see blue sky. It's nice and breezy. It smells fresh and clean. That's what you want. You want those new, fresh, clean opportunities to be able to come through your life. And they're not going to come as long as you stay stuck in dusty mode. You dealing with dusties, you accepting dusties, you making excuses for dusties, you aligning yourself with dusties, and you don't want to move on and get rid of the dusties. Well, that's all you're gonna be smelling is dust. You've got to close that door and move on from that kind of stuff. It's just never gonna. It's never. He's not gonna change. He's not gonna change. Stop listening to his excuses. That's not the time. It's not like he's gonna make other excuses talking about, well, baby, I didn't do that because, it's just so hard for me. I was abused as a child. I was, my job, my work is so hard. I'm gonna be tired. I just, they ain't paying me no money. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. All this stuff. So they're gonna be having one excuse after another for why they're not giving you the relationship that you demand or that you want or you ask for or whatever that you deserve, whatever. They're not doing it. They're giving you excuses. And you sit there listening to them excuses. You say, well, okay, that's really nice that you having all that shit going on. But you need to take that shit and your black ass and get the fuck out. That's what you need to do. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. It don't have nothing to do with me. And that's really great that that's going on in your life. But you need to put that somewhere else when you're dealing with me, because I don't care. That's irrelevant here. I'm not accepting those excuses. And as soon as you can do that and get rid of these knuckleheads that's Mr. Wrong, then you make room for Mr. Right. Me and my auntie had a really interesting discussion about that. I was about 19 or so, and she had this thing that you should keep your, like these women, you should keep your boat until your yacht comes in. That was her exact words. Keep your boat until your yacht comes in. And I remember sitting there looking at her, and I said, "But auntie, Because we had boats, and so I was familiar with the docks and the whole thing where you dock your boats and all stuff. And so I said, but Auntie, the yacht can't get to the port because the boat's in the way. And you should have seen the look on her face because she you could tell she had never thought of it that way. So she would hang on to the negative, stupid relationship and the dumb man until Mr. Wonderful comes along. But Mr. Wonderful's gonna see that you got this Dusty here, and he gonna make a Yui and go on about his business because you're not ready. You haven't cleared the bullshit out so he can make a grand and swoop in interest into your life and treat you the way that you need to be treated. Look at how what happened with Ciara and Russell. Okay, she got rid of Future. She cleared her port. Her berth was clear. And so Russell, the yacht, just sailed right on in there. You see what I'm saying? So that, yeah, you don't want to keep your boat until your yacht comes. I don't know where she got that shit from, but I will never forget that. Now, I was like 19, 18, so you know how long ago that was. But I will never forget that conversation, nor will I ever forget the look on her face. She'd been dead for shit 20 years by now, probably longer than that. But yeah, I'll never forget that conversation. She called herself giving me some wisdom about men, and turned out I schooled her. But so that's what I got to say on this topic tonight, ladies. Um, I'll be back tomorrow. On the weekends, I do things at 4 p.m. I do things a little earlier so that people who want to get out and go out to dinner or to the clubs or whatever still have time to enjoy their Saturday night. Unfortunately, on Fridays, I can't quite make it that early. I try sometimes, but it's always a major fail. So I still do them at 6. But let's see, what do we got tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow. Oh, that's right. Tomorrow is the dating show. So if you got some questions, you just come. I'm gonna be sitting here just answering questions like right off the cuff. You type them in the chat room. I'm gonna answer them. And then on Sunday, we're gonna be talking about men in asking the question, is your man an emotionally bankrupt narcissist? A lot of women don't understand that that's what's going on with their dude. And I'm going to walk you through it so you can figure out what's he all about, what's his motivation for being the way that he is, and then you have to decide if you want to be with a narcissist or not. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You going to make that decision cuz I ain't going to be in that shit. You are. That's not going to be me. That's you. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for stopping in for another wonderful Friday night here on the Debsterism Channel, the 22nd day of Debruary 2019. We got 6 days to go with some more fantabulous topics coming up to educate your mind, get you right on your right relationship track. My name is Deborah Cooper. Feel free to visit me on survivingdating.com. That's also where you submit your advice questions for What the Fuck Tuesday. And if you have a question, just a general question, a comment about the show, email it to me at survivingdating.com. Thank you, everyone, for coming and spending some time with me. I will see you all tomorrow and Sunday afternoon. Go out and enjoy the rest of your Friday night. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.